I'd like to begin maybe just with a brief sketch of Better Together and the origin of this effort. And then we'll jump into the Better Together project itself. For those who might not be familiar, Better Together came on the scene about a little over a year ago. With an effort to try and call the Christian Reformed Church to unity across our differences for the sake of gospel mission. And we tried to cast that vision and invite people into that kind of perspective leading up to Synod 2023. And I would say that we were not all that successful. Much of Synod 23 continued in a pathway of less room for those who disagree across some of these tight issues, particularly sexuality in the Christian Reformed Church right now. But even in the lead up to Synod 23, we had been encouraged by a couple of other organizations here in West Michigan. And I should say Better Together is not a West Michigan-based group. We represent, the founding group was 13 pastors scattered all across the United States, from Oakland, California to Silver Springs, Maryland, and a whole bunch of people in between. But we were encouraged by a couple of organizations to consider applying for a grant from the Lilly Endowment. The Lilly Endowment runs a whole series of philanthropic work within the United States. They likely give away hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And one of their arms is to provide support for religious institutions and organizations. And they had a specific grant arm called the Thriving Congregations Initiative, of which then we, as Better Together and in partnership with a local congregation here in Grand Rapids, Calvin Christian Reformed Church, applied for this Lilly grant. It was one of the ways I describe it, it was kind of, it was really a long Hail Mary pass. You write a grant request in June, you throw it to Lilly, and you have no feedback from them for 5 months. And so we heard nothing until November 16th. We got an email and we learned that they had decided to award us this grant, which was fantastic and really exciting. But it was also one of these things where you kind of say, oh man, now we got to do something. This is going to be a challenge. And so for the last couple of months, we've been building out how we implement this project. Along the way, Better Together has worked to try and encourage Synod to preserve some of those avenues for individuals who find themselves at a different place than the denominational decision around confessional status. And so there was a template for communications that churches could use to convey to their classis and likely to Synod as well, their concern about the limitations of kind of a conscientious objection avenue that's allowed for within our current church order called Gravamina. And so we provided a template for congregations that they could use to communicate concerns around that way. And now we have this opportunity to step forward and invite congregations to consider partnering with us in this Better Together project.